The load screen. It's about a second too late on this one. Now, earlier we did have some issues with whatever was going on for the PCs, lag, and all these things. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed, we don't have that come up again. Because this is... Oh, man, I don't know. I'm really hyped for this matchup just because I know there's potential for it to be great. But there's equal amounts of potential for it to fall flat on its face to be a 2-0 for Sacsri. So we'll see how it goes down. It's the GFINITY Spring Masters 2. And in the bottom right corner of the map, we've got the green Terran player from AT Gaming, uThermal.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg, it's my Insanity's Sacsri.
Alright, so Sacsri is a really strong contender in this. I don't think there's any question about it. He's Korean, he's won a dream hack, he's got just, I don't know, swag out the wazoo when it comes to playing Zerg. uThermal, we just finished discussing, but for those who might just be watching the VOD of this guy's incredibly good. He's incredibly talented. His control over Terran is seriously some of the best we've seen sometimes. He basically either wins TVZ really, really hard or loses it really, really bad. And a lot of this is himself, like he said, and he's forfeited out of tournaments for the same sake, saying he just doesn't get this matchup. He doesn't love this matchup. So I don't know where uThermal's sitting at coming into this one, but I'm hoping for the best out of him. Because this would be one of the matches, I think, out of all the games we had scheduled for today, this is the one with the biggest upset potential in it.
Yeah, sure. I kind of went over like his weaknesses, also, before the game started. But as we have normal openers, although uThermal might be going for a 15 gas here, might be going into a Hellbat push off of it. I'd be surprised to see a gas opener. Those have come back into play, just a little bit greedier, but not as greedy as a 14cc. Oh no, it's gonna be a gases expand. All right, so it's greedier than a 14, or it's not as greedy as 14cc, but it's a little bit greedier than like a gas opener. But then you got the Reaper. So there's a big reason as people don't do this. They consider the Reaper to be a much better investment than the tiniest bit more economy you get from getting the command center that much faster. And if you really do want to be greedy, then you might as well 14cc. Yeah. So it's interesting that he does this. One of the good things you can get from this, of course, is that Marines come out and you just shoot down the Overlord. Something you could have gotten with 15 gas, but still, the idea is there. Not going to happen here, as Coda has a nice little, it's pretty short, so the Overlords are already in position, and he didn't bother checking to see if the Rax was down. You can see the command center timing anyways. So, might as well just park yourself right there.
I am curious then. So if he goes for an opening like this, and let's say like imaginary situation, fast forward 5 minutes, we got 3 CCs down, right? What does Sacsri see from this, and how does he react? Because Sacsri's a player I can equally see playing really, really greedy and trying to just out-greed his opponent, or going for the big all-in, right?
Well, we already see it, kind of, right? He didn't go for gas. Now, this could have potentially been his plan the entire time going into this game. It's rare, but it's unheard of. Or it could have been a reaction seeing the exact time in the command center and being like, oh, he didn't get a Reaper. Like, so why do I need to get speed that quickly? If he sees that there's a 3rd CC, it's even more reason to either be like super, super greedy or go for that all-in you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like the worst way you can play off this is like the middle ground, right? The tentative,
right.
I'm worried about an attack, but I'm just going to stand 2 bases. The Overlord's not in position to see this, though, and that's going to work out really well for uThermal's sake. Still pumping out Marines as well. If there's minor ling aggression at the front, it's something he should be able to deal with pretty easily, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So before, there was the interesting openers, a little bit different. Not crazy, but interesting. I was, going to point out that uThermal he has some, seemingly a very, direct go-to for this matchup, which is to get up to starport off the back of some type of build. Maybe there's a Hellbat push, but a light one, and then 3cc, and then immediately drop. This could be a very effective maneuver, definitely, especially if they're going for a build that does not have mutas quickly, so anything besides like a 2-base lair. But that's kind of like the extent of what he's really good at, except for microing, of course. Because after that, if they deflect that, they don't take any damage, and they're good to go, that's where he just is like, I don't know what to do anymore. So that's really what I'm expecting to see here. But Sacsri did just get 2 gases. He's getting a Roach Warren. he's not exactly going super greedy, so I gotta wonder, this is gotta be for an attack, right? We just went over, like, going the middle ground would be the worst thing you could do.
That's kind of what I was thinking it leans toward. Like, it's so weird to get a defensive Roach Warren after you see a 4 Marine opener, no Hellings really revealed. He's diving in now to check for, like, an armory or something, but, I mean, there's not a threat. So, if this Roach Warren's used for anything else, maybe it was just simply for the wall. No, 3 Roaches, 4 Roaches coming out. Okay.
So, quick lair. So he's gonna get double upgraded Roaches. Yeah? Is it? I'd be surprised if he goes Roach Hydra. I've been seeing this more on ladder and, like, my own, like, crappy play rate, and I've always been surprised, but this is, like, Roach Hydra's really fell out of favor.
I can't imagine, like, he just saw the starport, he saw the barracks swap off the tech lab, like, he knows there's gonna be Banshees out, and Banshee shut this down, so these have got to be defensive. There's no reason to invest in them otherwise at this point. You can't go for the attack, the Banshees will be there.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. He did start +1 missile and then cancel, go for the Carapace. Not sure if that was a mistake or he had to rethink his plan.
That may have been him rethinking his plans here. Because, I mean, the nice thing is that investment in 4 to 6 Roaches early on, it's not too costly, and it will shut down most early aggression. I mean, if you're going to push with Hellbats, Marines, Hellions, basically anything except for the Banshee, it'll shut down. So, I mean, it's not a bad investment out of Sacsri, but I think that you're right, there's probably a direction shift.
Well, that is interesting. I feel like this isn't really the greatest build then to do that off of. So he is going to go in Aspire. And I was wondering about this. So, I mean, usually, I think the most effective way to do this is you do, like, the Roach push, and then you transfer over having hopefully done some damage, keep them on the back foot. As it is now, not doing any damage and having, like, this kind of useless amount of Roaches, it'll be interesting to see if he can still gain that same, like, easy transfer over into Ling Baneling. Although I guess it's possible he goes Roach Muta. It's not super common, but could do it.
It's definitely not. I mean, we've seen players like Revival, right? They just kind of do this sort of, we'll call it Roach brute force, where there's not really a lot of refinement around timings, and they just hope to overwhelm and win with a big supply advantage, but I just can't really see that happening here. Even if you take out all the Banshees, like, let's hypothetically say that's the case, you're still not going to get much use out of the Roaches.
Okay, so he does start the +1 melee. I was waiting to see that, right? Because he has second Evo Chamber. It seemed to come down pretty late. So it is going to be an entire transition into Mutiling Bling off the back of a kind of an awkward Roach opener. So he's not as greedy as he could be, but he's not in a terrible position. You know, like, he was at 60 drones, and he has the mutas at a decent enough time that they're still going to be able to gain that control over the map. You know, maybe deny the third for a little while longer.
I forgot about this too, by the way, but just a quick nod to uThermal, who won the Season 1 Battle of the Ladder Heroes. Totally forgot about that. But one of the things, sorry, this is not just a shout out, but also an allusion to the fact that we mentioned before, and I'll bring it up again, we've seen him recently play with very little to no Widow Mines. Very heavy focus on those Hellbats, and it's not a bad thing, because it is mostly the Lings and the Banelings you're worried about. These Banshees are getting fantastic damage done, by the way. 2 bases getting attacked, and a couple of drones, 15 or so go down. But if he does play that Hellbat style, that really Widowmine-less style, dealing with the mutas can be really problematic. While you rarely see 4 Widowmines go off and clear out a clump of mutas, just the area of effect damage can be so great sometimes that the Marines really don't need that much to finish it off.
Yeah. Accidentally built 2 Baneling nests. Oh, let's see, he canceled one. Good.
Man, what's up? We've seen a lot of players do double Baneling nests, double Roach Warrens lately. Outside of Archon mode, too, especially. But a couple Widow Mines are down. Get some decent shots.
Now, uThermal is pushing, and of course, this push did not occur at a time where you could double drop. His mutas were already out.
I actually really like this push. Because he would have caught some of the mutas on the back bend, maybe. Cleans up a lot of creep tumors. One more scan, we'll get about 4 more, plus the live one.
Too bad he didn't put the second one. That would have been really nice. So he is going Widow Mines, and that push was a successful push. He didn't get swamped and killed, and, you know, the tilt begins. This is actually so far looking like a really good game for both players after what was a kind of like a, you know, kind of useless Roach opener. It still is okay for Sacsri. He's already on his, he's getting to his 4th, he's on 69 drones. His upgrades are pretty even as well, and he's getting all the crucial ones like Overlord speed and Baneling speed.
I thought you just made a funny noise. I didn't realize you were like doing a sarcastic laugh at the 69. It's like the cat meowing in Chinese. Alright, Alright, so we did get some Woodmines, as you pointed out, but he's also going to Hellbats. Like, this is like him torn between the two sides, the new and the old, like one Hellbat, one Woodmine. Misclicks most likely, but I do like the idea of him incorporating Woodmines. uThermal's such a fantastic player already. I'm excited to see how he's going to play with those Woodmines actually being part of his composition. Awkward, but interesting bunker placement over here on the mineral lines. It will help cover against the mutas a little bit better, but only from the left side.
Yeah. We'll potentially get this fourth here. The Woodmines blocking out the entrance is really, really nice. A couple of Hellbats as well. No cancel. 300 minerals in the gutter right there. Mutas do get on top of the SCVs and a couple of Banelings as well, but nice control for uThermal. I think saves all of them. Most of them?
Yeah, quick stutter step away made sure that the Marines also didn't get absolutely destroyed in the attack. Behind the mineral lines over here, he's going to pick up, try to boost away. Still pushing on the right side of the map, and Sacsri finds himself fighting on many different fronts right now, but those Banelings take out the Hellbats. Don't quite connect to the Marines, but with some Woodmines down and some Marauders to take some of the damage, I don't think this is too bad. He's been able to put on some decent pressure, kills, not cancels that fourth, and really doesn't lose much at home for it. So, again, really nice push out of uThermal. We'll see if he can keep this up. Sacsri, however, not exactly in danger just yet. You know, he's sitting on a really high drone count still. His upgrades are a little bit behind, but not by much. Really not by much.
Going into Hellbats is an interesting... I mean, I think he did this before, too. He got, like, you know, maybe, like, 2 Woodmines and transferred over, but... It's worrisome. It's worrisome. uThermal, he's getting up to max, right? And this is where his control really starts to shine through. It's, you know, no longer a case of he's pushing in when Sacsri has just enough to overpower him.
Yeah, pre-spread's looking awesome, too. Picks off a lot of the Banelings. He's got one more he can get. Nope. Bait.
Changelings first. Very important.
Mutas look like they're going to try and either drive him back home or cause enough damage that it's not worth uThermal leaving the base. But the problem is, I don't think there's enough Mutas to really do that. A Thor might get caught in the open. That's going to suck. So that actually is going to prompt him to come back home. Funny enough.
Yeah. Well, the Thor is very important, not for the anti-air only, but because it solidifies a push. It solidifies a position. And he really wanted to stay in that Zelnaga area for a while longer and scare Sacsri. But that's what the Mutas are for. Mutas are there to try and get the army to come back, to try and do some nice damage, maybe cancel an upgrade. It's an engineering bait at the very least.
Yeah, it doesn't stop that 2-2 from finishing though, so level 3 starts up. We got a big attack set up beside the third too, and there is that bunker, but I mean... Oh, it's going to take a couple of Banelings to really shut this down. SCVs do need to get pulled out of this mess. A couple are going to go down Blue Flame here.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
He's pushing
Sacsri,
simultaneously.
This is actually going to get a little interesting. The Mutas are coming back, but they're not going to be able to help deal with it that much. He's got to sack the fifth, basically. He doesn't have a problem with that. He says another one off to the top right, so just transfer over there. But does he have enough time to get as many Banelings as he needs on the home front? Where are they morphing in? There's 4 of them morphing in right now. That's nothing.
They're in the main too. Yeah, it sucked for uThermal to lose that base, but he actually does snipe off not one but 2 bases of Sacsri while this goes on. Now the macro hatchery actually, interestingly enough, makes this not too bad for long distance mining's sake, but I don't know. uThermal, he lost some SCVs. He got a good chunk out of lives. He got the command center still floating, trying to get what he can outside the middle of the map, but I mean, his army supply still stands 111 strong. I think if he comes out of the base and spreads out, he should be able to be okay, but if he lets his units get picked off a little bit at a time like this, then it's problematic. Lots of Banelings rolling in off a creep, starts splitting. Focus fire on top of some of those Banelings on the front lines. With those going down, he can't continue pushing, and Sacsri will be turned around once again.
uThermal can't really push either, though. He lost all of his medevacs. You have 1 more on the way. 1. That's it. Like, without... Okay, well, he has 1 here. So he has 2, right? But that's still a lot. Like, this one's gonna die. And that's... I mean, just... He could still push, but it's always gonna be really dangerous. He should be waiting for a couple more medevacs. This second one off to the left will die, but hopefully by more time. That's really what he's looking for. Mutas, though, they're coming into the main. There are a lot of them.
1 turret. Oh, trying his best to stay alive. Not going to happen. Marines do rush to the rescue, though. And, I mean, some of these overseers are low, some of the Mutas are low, but I don't think this is anything too dangerous. And that medevac did not buy a lot of time by the looks of it. Quickly picked up and shuffled away. Hive tech all the way for Sacsri as well. Normally, there's a lot of pressure coming from the Terran player, so you don't really have the money, the gas, the comfortability to go for this. But despite the fact that uThermal has been knocking down bases left and right, Sacsri finds the time, the money, and the effort to actually get to that hive.
Yeah. This looked okay when they were both on even bases and recovering off of that, you know, pseudo base trade, but uThermal, he dipped down in supply and hasn't really been able to recover from it. Now he has +3 on the way, which is always going to be what the Terran has to, you know, make up for these types of situations, just better upgrades in general. And he does find it in his money to go ahead and plant down a 4th base, but again, at the price of not having that big of an army, still at only 150.
Bailey's rolling once again. He should be able to deal with these pretty cost effectively by the looks of it. Marines take hits, but they live. It all comes down to this Mutaswarm that's been growing steadily and steadily more out of hand as time goes on. 30-something mutas, really hard to deal with because you do have to respond through this funnel. You come a couple Marines at a time. He's got a lot of supply now in the main that's not out here in the front, so these Lings are going to get through. Big spread out of uThermal, but is it going to be enough? There's a bunker to fall back into, too, if he realizes it. Perhaps not going to realize it, though, until it's too late. Marines do get wiped off the field. He takes out most of the Zerglings, though, so now there's not a lot of buffer for those Banelings. If the Banelings go down, the Mutas will follow, but... Oh, those clubbed up shots, Thor! Gets a couple. Not bad, not bad. But not good for uThermal. He's lost a lot of money through this. Doesn't have a lot of army supply.
He doesn't really have anything going for him except that one upgrade. And I guess his +2 armor might finish before, you know, Sacsri's, but not by much. This game does seem like it's you know, it's going to be a loss for uThermal. I don't see what he can really do. You know, you can't bulk up a big army.
Right, hang on, bait with a medevac, clump up the mutas, boom, Thor. That's how you get back in the game.
Of course, of course.
So simple.
Right, exactly. I think the biggest thing about this game was not... I mean, the base trade kind of made it, like, you know, kind of weird, and that definitely played into both players, you know, who recovered better from a weird situation. But uThermal just stopped making splash units. You know, he went pure bio, you know, with only like 1 or 2 Hellbats, and that just, you can't do it, you know? Like, Marine King tried in Wings of Liberty, okay, that kind of worked. No one can do it in Heart of the Storm anymore.
I think one of the problems, you bring up the splash, and for the mid-game that's been the case. This composition he's had for the last 10 minutes would have been so perfect for that situation where there's Ultras and maybe 8 Mutalisks left and no Banelings really because everyone's out of money, but uThermal, you know, the late-game composition doesn't work in the mid-game for good reason, too. Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to put it. So he's starting, I don't know if it was a conscious decision, in fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think he wanted to be producing Hellbats that entire time, but the game did get messed up, and he decided that, you know, Marine and Marauders were going to be better.
It's funny, too, because well, as much as we want to praise Widowmines, right, Hellbats would have actually been fantastic with the amount of Lings Sacsri's been throwing into this. Wow, these turrets are like, my base is out of minerals, but I don't give a flip. You're done. Get out of here. I don't want to deal with mutas.
Well, the problem with Hellbats is that like 1 or 2 doesn't really like, you know, do anything. At least with 102 Widowmines, they might get that perfect hit.
They can,
you know, Hellbats are more obvious.
Hellbats are more, they're guaranteed damage, right? It's not as high damage potential as a Widowmine perfect shot, but it's guaranteed damage.
But you still need a lot of them to really be effective in a composition, and he never really got up to that big count. So, you know, he has gotten up to a fairly decent count after being below 100. Usually at that point, you're just, you know, you're game over.
Man. If these Thors could just get the mutas, that one shot was looking really good. Second shot, not so bad, but he just barely can't finish them. One more Thor shot would have done the trick. I wouldn't mind anything. But with the mutas being out of control like this, I don't know that he could finish this off. SCVs, Marines, everything here's on the edge of defeats.
All the SCVs went down to the Banelings, so he's back down to 36. We have Ultras now on the way. This is where a pure Marauder gun can really work out. Yeah. But there he goes, the 4th Command Center.
I just want to point out, like, 4th Command Center going down really quick. That army engagement was still not too bad. Like, that was pretty close to going really well for uThermal, but Sacsri is ultimately going to take the game.